Top election story. Election campaigning gatherings team in Jammu and Kashmir, which goes to the polls for the first time in 10 years next week. I was in Kashmir over the weekend where I spoke to the person who has been a former chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir and may hope to become the chief minister again. But Omar Abdullah made it very clear that although he had earlier decided not to contest the polls, his decision eventually to contest from 2 seats is because he says his sole aim is to ensure Jammu and Kashmir gets its statehood again. He's not gunning for the chief ministership, but for statehood. Listen in to Omar Abdullah. So you're contesting the elections, Mr. Omar Abdullah, after all your protestations that until Kashmir is made a state again,
I never
you are
said
not
that.
going to contest.
I never said that.
You never said that?
I never put the context of state or 370.
Okay, can I quote, put a couple of quotes to you? 10 June, interview to PTI. No, I am not contesting the assembly elections.
No, I'm not saying
I will not fight a UT election. I'm absolutely clear on that. 7th August. No, I'm not contesting. I have made it very clear. The CM of the once most empowered state. I can't see myself in a position where I have to ask the LG for appointing a peon.
A lot of inputs from people I don't know. Who reached out randomly by email, by message, conversations with colleagues. I realized that perhaps the position I took was wrong in as much as it was perhaps hypocritical.
So you've changed your mind?
Well, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be filing. How do I expect the people of Jammu and Kashmir to repose faith in an assembly that I'm not willing to repose faith in? This is not the assembly we want. But this is definitely a step towards the assembly that we want. The assembly that we want will flow from this one.
Because you've said in the past, in 2019, that it's a disempowered assembly. Now, more recently, you said it's a union territory and that's unacceptable. You're saying people have made you change your mind.
Well,
but are you really hopeful of change, that one election can change the ground realities in Jammu and Kashmir?
One election can change everything. A bad assembly election in 2014, which put the BJP and the PDP in power, changed everything for Jammu and Kashmir. One election in Delhi that gave the BJP the majority that they needed in 2019 changed everything for Jammu and Kashmir. Why should we assume that this election can't change things? Of course it will. We have commitments from people like the Prime Minister and the Home Minister on the floor of the House in Parliament saying that Jammu and Kashmir will be given back its statehood, undiluted. We have commitments from the Government of India in the Supreme Court saying exactly the same thing. So as I said, this assembly is not the assembly we want, but the assembly we want will flow from this one.
Are you now saying restoration of Article 370 is no longer on the agenda?
Absolutely not. It is very much on the agenda. It's the first item that we've talked about in our manifesto. But we also realize that it's not going to come from this assembly. It's a long struggle. It's a struggle that is going to take time. It's a struggle that will probably require at least one change of government in the centre. So what we have promised people and what our manifesto has said is that we're going to keep the issue alive. We're going to talk about it. But statehood, definitely. And what I have said about a resolution from the J&K Assembly is not about a 370 or 35A or statehood. I've said that the Assembly should pass a resolution saying that we do not accept what was done to us on the 5th of August 2019, that the people were not a part of that decision. The ones who since 2019 have been doing nothing but telling the world that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are really happy with what happened on the 5th of August 2019, that life has got so much better and that there's nothing but unanimous approval for it. At least we'll debunk that once and for all.
Even if you were to become the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, would you agree that you will be a very disempowered Chief Minister?
The government gave no extra powers to the Lieutenant Governor. Those powers were already vested with the Lieutenant Governor. All the government did was to clarify or to codify how those powers would be exercised, given that they knew elections would be coming. But otherwise what they did is simply what was in the J&K Reorganization Act, which again is something that we don't agree with. But
that's right. So they have, through the J&K Reorganization Act, as and when a new state assembly is set up, you will still be far more disempowered than you were.
Compared to what? Well,
compared to pre-2019.
Well, obviously, that goes without saying.
So therefore, are you worried that the Chief Minister will be just a titular Chief Minister?
No. Well, initially, the powers of the Chief Minister will be a lot more limited than we'd like to see. But as I said, that we believe is going to be a very temporary phase because statehood and full statehood has to be restored to Jammu and Kashmir. If we don't get it willingly, we'll go to the Supreme Court.
Omar Abdullah, in your manifesto, you've also spoken about revival of the autonomy resolution that was passed in 2000 by your party when your father was the Chief Minister, which was rejected incidentally by Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government. Are you calling for a restoration of that autonomy? Because that again becomes a prickly issue. It involves whose flag is it? Is it the state flag? Is it the national flag?
It is our political ideology. It is our political agenda. We are not ready to surrender it. Our manifesto is to remind people that the National Conference is committed to its political ideology. We are not surrendering it. That said, I think it's a bit unfair for anyone to focus purely on 2 sentences or 2 paragraphs in a manifesto that touches upon every aspect of people's lives. I know the temptation for the wider audience in the rest of the country is to just focus on these political issues of the National Conference. But our manifesto goes much further than that.
The centre says, look, we've got J&K Bank back on track. This was a bank destroyed by the Abdullahs
Absolutely not.
when they were in power.
Absolutely
they
not.
speak about tourism. Say, look, we had 21 million tourists last year. We are breaking all records. Think about what happened when the Abdullahs were in power. They'd say about, look at Kashmir, it's far more peaceful now. There was stone pelting that would take place when the Abdullahs were in power or the Muftis were in power. So there are 2 narratives. There's the narrative of the Abdullahs, there's the narrative of the BJP.
Well, no, I think it doesn't matter. This narrative is not of the Abdullahs. You are playing into the hands of the BJP when you do this.
Who, me?
Yes, you. When the questioning is all about one family versus a party. It's not. The National Conference is a political party that has received a mandate from the people in elections. So it is a National Conference government. It's not an Abdullah government. It's a PDP government. It's not a Mufti government. It was a PDP-BJP government.
We want to rid Kashmir in a way of family Raj.
By all means, try. Who stops them? They've tried their level best to destroy the National Conference after 2019 and so far seem to have failed miserably. Let's see what the people think.
Are you going to say nothing has changed for the good in the last 5 years?
Well, other than the fact that this government, through whichever means they have used, have effectively marginalized separatist voices, I am reluctant to give them credit for anything else. Because on the one hand, Kashmir has been what it is. You've still had violence, you've still had terror, you've had targeted attacks against minorities, you had an exodus of minorities for the first time after the early 90s. That is Kashmir. You've opened up a new front in Jammu. The elected government, when it comes here, is going to have a huge problem on its hands, restoring the situation in Jammu to what it was when we left it in 2014. The sort of attacks you see today in Kathua, in Samba, in Jammu, in Riyasi, in Doda, in Poonch, in Rajouri. These were things that almost never happened.
You and Rahul Gandhi, is it personal chemistry that's brought you together, or just because you all are desperate to defeat the BJP at all costs?
Rahul and I had nothing to do with the way this played out. It was really the sort of the leadership of the party after us that put this into place. The leadership of the Congress in Jammu and Kashmir with my colleagues, and then subsequently discussions when Mr. K.C. Venugopal and Salman Khurshid Saab and others came here.
Because the buzz in Delhi was that it is Rahul Gandhi who persuaded Omar Abdullah, no, Omar, you have to contest and lead this alliance. Not true?
No conversations with Rahul about the elections at all.
I saw that picture, you, Rahul Gandhi, Farooq Abdullah, Mallikarjun Kharge, you had a cup of tea like this, that's all?
Yeah, we had a cup of tea, we talked about everything that was going on in the country. Obviously there was, some talk about the general mood regarding elections, but there was no seat-sharing discussion or agenda or stuff like that.
But is this alliance basically because you've realized that unless you all come together, it's advantage BJP, and that's what happened in 2014. Is that a wake-up call that divided you fall, united you have a half a chance?
Well, for us it was more about perception. For us it was important to put to rest this sort of story that some of our opponents sought to plant, that we have a secret alliance with the BJP. Particularly after a recent court case judgment in Srinagar, that was used as some sort of evidence of a secret understanding with the BJP. So for us to put that piece of gossip to rest once and for all, an alliance with the Congress was necessary. And of course, there will be benefits in terms of ensuring that in some areas the votes don't get split.
Is there chemistry on the ground between the workers? Or is there the usual tension that's going to take place if I don't get a ticket from one of the two parties, I contest as an independent?
There has been that fallout as well. There has been that in areas. But fortunately, we fought the recent parliament elections together in all 5 seats in J&K. So we do have recent experience of working on the same side.
But you kept your other old friend, if I may call her that, Mehbooba Mufti, out of this. I mean, you all were all part of the India Alliance. I remember last year seeing all of you together as part of the India Alliance, and now you've kept her aside.
Well, we haven't. She chose to stay away. She chose to put up candidates.
You didn't reach out to her. You didn't reach out to her.
Look, we are not the bigger party of the India Alliance. The Congress is. It's not our job to reach out.
Why do you think you lost the Lok Sabha elections of 2024? Has the National Conference lost some of its firepower, particularly in North Kashmir?
That election was fought on sentiment, pure sentiment.
And this election?
This is going to be more than that. I mean, that was...
What is more than that?
You had one person fighting that election, whose sons went out and told people all of 2 things. Vote for my father, otherwise he's going to be hanged, which was a lie. And vote for my father because you have to bring him out of jail, which was also an exaggeration. Because you don't come out of jail by winning an election. If you did, then Arvind Kejriwal would not be in jail right now.
Your own quote, I may not even be allowed to appoint a peon, suggests to me that even if you become the chief minister, next chief minister, it's a crown of thorns, very different in a way to 2008.
I'm not aspiring to that office.
You're not aspiring.
I'm not aspiring to that office.
That's why you're contesting.
I'm not aspiring to that office. I'm not setting myself up for that office. I'm not thinking beyond the 8th of October. At this point in time, all I am interested in is ensuring a majority for the National Conference Congress Alliance.
When Rahul Gandhi tied up with Akhilesh Yadav, they were branded as UP ke ladke. What do we now call you and Rahul Gandhi? Kashmir ke ladke?